What is up, boys and girls? It is your boys from the Shock the World podcast. I'm your host, Harold Eason, here in the studio with...
Old man and very sore from skiing, trying to hydrate, Tim Hanna.
Indeed. And...
Sorry you're an old man and hydrating like a young man, Jameson Wadner.
Very nice. Good old Lone Stars. Keeping it inside the state of Texas, I like it. So today we are coming to bring you guys on our video... the preview for our 2018 baseball season, as I'm sure you can already see from the title. Based on downloads, we see that a lot of you guys are listening on iTunes. If you want to do us a huge favor, inside of iTunes, if you can go and click on the 5-star review, that would help us a lot and help us in the standings, pull up in the search. And if you don't already, make sure to go check us out on YouTube. We spend a lot of time doing things maybe with our hands. I don't know what to do with my hands. Or just spend a lot of time on video working on this stuff. So if you don't mind clicking over to the page, giving us a subscribe, would really help. But without you're begging for... Oh, God. Yeah, without begging for too much... hold on. Without begging for too much, we'll go ahead and get on to the 2018 baseball schedule.
No, it's the big baseball bonanza, the big baller brand, the triple B's.
Baseball. So we'll go ahead and get on to it then. But with that, I guess we should kind of have to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of a recap of 2017. Obviously, admittedly, I'm going to walk you guys through this, but Tim and Jameson are the resident baseball experts. I am just the casual peon baseball.
I wouldn't say expert, but...
Yeah, experts stretch
the
word, but
baseball.
More than just a casual fan, I guess you could say.
There you go. 3-point stance man on point. But we're going to go ahead and, I guess, take a look at 2017. So, in 2017, your Houston Cougars finished out at 42-21, the fourth time we've ever gotten 40 wins, and 3 out of the last 4 years underneath Coach Todd Whitting, which is pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, we won't talk about that one year that we were preseason top 10, and yeah, that didn't exactly work out for us.
Did not look like it was like that. A couple other good things, though, from this last year. Your Cougs ended up finishing regular season champions and conference tourney champions. UCF's trying to debate the series, overall series, because they ended up pulling our series 2-3, but, I mean, overall wins.
Look, guys, rules are rules. We just follow them.
UCF's debating everything nowadays, dude.
Exactly.
Put a billboard up on that.
Yeah. Obviously, we ended up hosting a regional with Baylor, Texas A&M, and Iowa. Ended up losing to A&M on Monday afternoon, 4-3, which sent them to the Super Regional. Such a sad day. But overall, was a good year for the Cougs. We actually finished out with our highest average attendance ever at 1,838, which is our best since 2015, which was really good. To the same tune of that, your Cougs ended up with 60 home runs, which is pretty damn awesome, which is the most since 2006. When we ended up getting 71, which I think that was back when we were using, if you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, different bats as well as bases.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, they just switched the ball last year. Last year it's lower seam, so the ball's going to travel a little faster, a little further.
Correct.
And then the bats, when did they switch that, Jameson? Like, 2000?
No, it was around like 2007,
8,
9, 10. It was around there.
Yeah.
So basically, the BB Core bats, the sweet spot of the bat got a lot smaller. In all honesty, a wood bat probably has a bigger sweet spot than a BB core bat does. And which, in a way, is kind of like, why don't they just allow college just go full wood bat? Because scouts would probably enjoy that better anyways.
Yeah, I've never understood that. That's a great
so
question.
I think
I'll be sure to ask.
It's just keeping the aluminum bat into the college game, theoretically. But the lowering of the seams in the ball, they had that College World Series, I believe it was, I don't know, I'm just guessing, like 2011 or 2012. It was so bad. There was not a single home run in the entire College World Series. Ratings were down. So college baseball was like, we have to do something to bring the game some life back to it. Yeah. So they lowered the seams in the ball to have less control over everything. And honestly, it's played out pretty well, especially for us. And last year, we went from probably one of the best small ball teams I've ever seen us in a long time to
absolutely.
Bringing back the power was so nice to watch last year. I mean, we had power all over the lineup. I mean, you could literally look at 1 through 7 and realistically say any of those guys can get up there and hit one out of the yard when they get up to the plate. So that was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, we ended up having Jake Schreiner, who ended up getting pretty high consensus All-American and AAC's most outstanding player, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
On the same side, we had pretty good pitching, even without a true ace. So UH ended up finishing 3rd in the nation in walks allowed in 9 innings, and was pretty impressive overall. Overall ERA was 3.43, and in the ACC and 15th in the nation. So pretty good, and obviously Trey Cumbie ended up being a first-team All-American and AAC Pitcher of the Year. So,
well, just to kind of touch on that, I mean, that's also hats off to Frank Anderson. I mean, the dude worked absolute miracles with us in terms of our pitching staff and kind of where we took it since he joined. So, I mean, hats off to him. Sadly, we no longer have Frank Anderson, and but we do have Coach Rooney, who's got a pretty good pedigree when it comes to pitching. So hopefully that's gonna translate.
Indeed. So now that we've sort of given you a little picture for maybe the guys who don't follow baseball as much, or maybe coming new onto the scene, obviously are amped about other Cougar sports and wanted to learn a bit more. There's your recap for last year in case you forgot anything. And let's take a look at we've got to kind of look at what we're looking at for next year, and with that, we've got to kind of take a look at who all we've lost. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and get started, and start up with Conor Wong, one of our catchers, who ended up going in the 3rd round to the Dodgers.
The Doyers.
Indeed. So
loser.
What do you guys think about this loss?
Well, I mean, I think it starts with Conor Wong's jump from his junior to senior year. Sophomore to junior year. The dude's power. I mean, he had more hits, runs, doubles, triples, home runs, RBIs, slugging percentage. I mean, you name it. Kid was a 3rd-year starter, and that was, I believe, his first full-on outright year to start as catcher. So all he did was get better, and I mean, it didn't look like he put on a whole lot of weight in muscle. I mean, he looked actually kind of like he leaned out, to be very honest with you. But defensively, the kid was great, and offensively, we're going to miss him a lot, especially when it comes to power.
Yeah.
And I think, too, outside of stats for him, you're going to miss out on a gamer, a guy that probably was more like a silent leader on the team, but it was also considered a leader. But a guy that, if you needed, you could plug him in shortstop, you could plug him in outfield, you could do whatever you wanted with him. He would do a pretty good job for you. And honestly, anytime we had a situational hit, I mean, even though the A&M game, he hit the cleanest line drive foul ball ever to hit a walk-off that wouldn't foul. But, I mean, besides that kid, you go up to bat in a situation where you need a run, you need a slap hit, and he'd do it for you. And I think we're going to severely miss that this year from him.
Absolutely.
So a guy we've already mentioned on our list, who we've also lost, would be Jake Schreiner, our 3rd baseman, who ended up going in the 4th round to the Phillies. Obviously a big play. It's 17 home runs this last year, but I mean, looks really good for being here for basically 1 year.
I mean, the dude batted officially at .346, had 50 runs, 18 doubles, 3 triples, 18 home runs, 64 RBIs, and a .667 slugging percentage. I mean,
Yep.
That says it right there. That's what we're going to be missing. And not to mention, he was a .959 fielding percentage. Like, the dude was a solid third baseman.
He was so solid, man.
Yeah.
Especially on bump plays or little dink hits, the third, charging one-handed, throw down to first. He was I saw him make some of the best plays I've ever seen a third baseman make at Cougar Field.
Oh,
and he also by far hit the longest home run during that regional I have ever seen hit out of that park.
I don't know what's traveling further, the Tesla car or Jake Shiner's home run.
That thing's still in orbit.
And I'm pretty sure it landed in the McDonald's parking lot.
Oh, absolutely. It crossed Elgin, for sure.
If that would have been a bat from back in 2006, oh my God. Oh my God. That was ridiculous.
So next on our list of guys we lost, the boy Jolksy, Corey Jolks, one of our center fielders who ended up going to your home team, the Houston Astros in the 8th round, which was, this guy, talk about a gamer, this guy knew how to turn it on.
Well, he started infield in his career and then moved to the outfield and bounced around and had a little bit of an injury and then really, honestly, turned it on the second half of his last year. I think he reached base in every single game from the midpoint on through the regional. I was really happy with Corey. I was really glad to see that he got picked up in an early round as a junior. I would have liked to have him back, but I don't really think he could have done much more to get any higher than the 8th round, to be very honest with you. And especially considering he's already had a string of injuries, you're just begging to get one more injury and miss out on a payday. So, we're going to miss power from him. The dude had 9 home runs, 45 RBIs. He has a .930 fielding percentages last year, 3-year starter. We're going to miss his leadership, and we're going to miss his bat. He was one of those guys, like you said earlier, 1 through 7, could walk up there and just smack it across the field or over the fence.
Yeah.
At any given moment. And I think that's what we're mainly going to miss about him.
And like you said earlier, what's crazy about his numbers, the first half of the season, we were like, we got to get Jolksy going.
Yeah.
You remember, we just couldn't get him going. If we had him in our lineup, we probably would have had an even better record than what we ended up with.
Oh, absolutely.
That first half of the season, we were sputtering, trying to figure out where guys are playing. Jolksy's not on. And then all of a sudden, it's just boom, there he is.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll miss him.
Not a good one. And last but not least, the guys that we lost from this last season. Another guy who ended up staying in Texas in the 10th round, going to the Texas Rangers, one of our Sunday pitchers, John King.
So John King was one of those guys that you heard a little bit about the year before, and then last year he kind of got thrown into the Sunday role due to our good friend who's now pitching for the Indians. Oh man, I am blanking on his name.
Nationals.
Oh, Nationals. Sorry, yeah, Nationals. So hats off to him for stepping into the role, and all he did was go out and go 8-1 with 3 complete games as a senior and a full-time starter for his first year. 81 innings pitched, 28 earned runs, 40 strikeouts, only gave up 5 home runs. Dude, John King was automatic on Sunday. Once we put him in the Sunday role and that whole pitching rotation got figured out, we were pretty unstoppable. To be very honest with you. So we're going to miss him as a Sunday mainstay. Now we're going to have a brand new guy come pick up the ball where he left off.
Nice. And I believe his first Sunday start last year was at Baylor too, right?
Yeah.
And he threw a complete game, which was really impressive there.
Yep.
Yeah. But also in the regionals, the guy did great, and I believe I think East Carolina at home too. He threw another complete game. Where all at? I don't know, but the guy really picked it up when we needed him to for sure throughout last year.
So I think that wraps it up for the guys who we lost this past year. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at who we return, and then after that, we'll go ahead and take a look at some of the new guys on the team. So one of our big players, the boy Big Baby Davis, Joe Davis, first baseman, junior, coming in, looking slim, lean, and mean.
Just to kind of preface this on who we return, we're going to go by position. Batting order is going to be something that they're going to mess with from here until the very last day of the season. There's really no point trying to guess the batting order. We'll talk about, starters that are returning and a couple of guys that are going to provide depth. But like I said, Joe Davis, Big Baby Joe Davis, or the Legend of Joe Davis, whatever you want to call him, or Drop the Hammer Joe Davis. I hope
the father of the new Thor Hammer Joe Davis.
Thor Hammer, yeah, exactly. Don't forget that we're bringing that back. That didn't go by the wayside. Lifetime 315 hitter with 22 dingers in his career. Obviously, most of those came from his first year. The question for Joe will be, is he healthy enough? Can he return to freshman form and or do more? And I think
he must.
He has to do more, especially
if
he's trying to get into the league in an early round this year. He's going to have to do a lot more and show the scouts that he can really. He's back to healthy. He's not a liability. How many? And this is no offense to Joe. How many average speed, average fielding, hitting a dinger every now and again size guys are there that you can draft?
You could go through a yellow page book.
Yeah, exactly. So, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I'm just a fan. Joe's going to have to do a lot more this year to show those scouts that he has the power, he has the speed, he can play DH or first base or whatever it may be going forward.
Definitely.
Yeah, especially with the power we lost, we're going to need him to get that power back.
Yeah.
I mean, just thinking about if he could have had the power he had his freshman year last year with that lineup, my God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
But we're going to need him this year.
Could have gone deep. So, next, our second baseman on the squad, Conor Hollis, one of our seniors.
So Conor's going to be a 4-year starter. He's the true senior leader, second baseman. Shortstop. He's the second baseman. I don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry, guys. He won the batting title over his summer league, which is pretty badass. He was hitting a 375, and that's actually the highest in the entire league for any position that got this award. So the question will be, and I think it's always been something that we've wanted to see from Conor, is does he have the power? We know he's got the fielding, but does he have the power? I don't know. I think that he has taken that next step, because you got to admit it. Towards the second half of the season, he finally showed some power. I don't think he's going to be a 10 home run guy, but if he could give us like jolts, maybe nine home runs and solid fielding, I'll take that.
Yeah, but typically speaking, your second basemen aren't going to be your power guys. Altuve is that's why he got MVP. It's weird. It's random and usually doesn't happen. We don't need him to be a power guy.
No.
I want him to be a guy that gets on base, him hitting in the 2-hole that can allow our 3, 4, 5-hole guys to get him around the score.
Yeah,
that's what I need more of him, to get on base more. And he did string a lot of good at-bats last year, which I was really proud of him for doing. I mean, he was the guy who would go up there if you wanted to get a pitcher down in the count, up in the count, he would go out there and give you 9, 10 pitch at-bats.
Yeah,
sure.
He's really good at that. Next, we're going to go ahead and talk about one of our younger guys, sophomore Jared Triolo, one of Jameson's favorite guys, started 60 of at third base. So why don't y'all go a little bit more in deep depth on
Triolo was one of those freshman phenoms from the very get-go. Like you said, started 60 out of 63 games, had a 271 average, 12 doubles, and 39 home runs. What I really liked about this kid is that he had 59 hits through the entire year. I mean, that's almost an average for every single game we played. The question will be, is he going to take the next step or go into a sophomore slump? What we've seen other players do, Joe Davis, namely. I believe in Triolo. I think he is going to take that next step. I think he's going to be solid on third base. And it's really, I think, his position to lose, truth be told.
Sure.
I don't know why you thought I hated Triolo last year. There was another guy in a black shirt that probably was more mad at him throughout last year than I was, to be honest. But I think I know the kid has a lot of potential, and I thought last year that there were things that he could have been a lot better at, only because with his size and his bat, I just kind of expected more, and honestly, I think Whitting did too. That's why Whitting kind of yanked him in and out of the lineup throughout the whole season. Mm-hmm. This year I really think he can only go up from here, honestly, from last year. Hopefully no sophomore slump.
Tim, anything else?
No, negative, Captain. Let's move on.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Next, good old Cooper Coldiron, senior, shortstop, played in only 15 games and batted .245, but he ended up starting immediately as soon as he came over here.
Yeah, so Cooper Coldiron was the ace up Whitting sleeve. It was we played a midweek game, and then all of a sudden, we finished a weekend series, and I think we won. And then Tuesday is like new starter, shortstop, Cooper Coldiron. Yeah. Nobody knew how to say his last name, but I think what I'm interested to see with Cooper is, yes, we know he's great at fielding. It's going to be his bat. I mean, he batted a pedestrian, I say 245, but I'm really interested to see. He's had an entire offseason training with us. How he does on the offensive side, I really don't know what to expect. But as a senior, and if you start immediately, I think you need to be batting a little bit better than a 245.
Yeah, I think you definitely need more than 245 from your shortstop position in a lineup if you expect to, contend for a conference title and even go deep in postseason play for sure.
Yeah.
But like I said, his fielding was pretty fantastic. Him and Hollis definitely, kind of formed a good partnership going on there up the middle as the season went on. Like I said, just getting that bat rolling, man. That goes a long way in general. If your bat's hot, they will find to put you somewhere on the field.
And truth be told, what I really like going into this year, and I think the reason why we got a lot of nods in the preseason poll is we return everybody in the infield essentially. I mean, Terrell has been a mainstay, Coldiron, Hollis, and Joe Davis. That says a lot about a squad when you're returning, 2 young guys and 2 older guys. I really like that going forward.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
So next, one of our older guys, our center fielder, Greyson Padgett, who's had a couple of injuries, but he does all right this next season.
Yeah. So actually, I kind of heard this the other day that Greyson was in a boot, and not really sure to what degree. He's already had this injury before. For Greyson, he started 48 of 55 games, and he started last year injured. So, truthfully, I think if we're going to compete nationally, he's got to be healthy. Point blank, he's got to be healthy. And I don't know as of right now. When we saw him at the Dugout Club dinner, he seemed energetic, happy, ready to get after it. So I have to believe that he's going to fight through the pain, but no telling.
Yeah. I mean, he's a game changer, too. I remember last year conference tournament game. He comes off the bench, pinch hitter against Memphis, and hits us a bomb.
Absolutely.
And we definitely needed to get that game 1 win. Because remember, we were down Memphis, and that would have put us in a bad spot to begin the tournament. Memphis, I believe, was a, 6 seed, 7 seed?
Oh, yeah,
we were
absolutely.
1 or 2?
Yeah.
And that was just, it was awful. He comes off the, pinch hit, bomb, gets us right back into it. I mean, that's the kind of player he is. We need him in the lineup, 100%.
Yep. I agree.
So, last but not least, we've also got our right fielder and younger guy, Lyle Lockhart Jr. coming in, returning as a sophomore, and we can all agree he was a freshman stud this last year.
Yep. So, it's kind of interesting with Lyle. He kind of bounced around until he found out where his, position was. We put him at first. But I think this kid is one of those athletes that just can play, is naturally gifted and can play any position he wants to. So, but the thing about it is kind of like De'Aaron King in football. You want him on the field. Like Greg Ward, same thing. You want him on the field because he's an athlete. So, and Lyle's not selfish. He'll play right field. It doesn't matter. He started every single game last year at a 276 average, 48 runs, including 9 doubles. The outlook is I'm really excited to see. I think he's due for even more growth. I don't see him having a sophomore slump at all because I think he is that gifted. And I think we're really lucky to have him on our squad.
Yeah. What I'm looking for him, too, is a little bit more what's what I'm looking for? Patience at the plate, for sure.
I was about to say,
he got himself down in a lot of counts early. Just like, hey, dude, just pull back the reins just a little bit. He got himself in bad situations, and it gets good pitching if you get down on the count early. Especially our conference is very underrated when it comes to baseball. If you get yourself down in counts early, it's going to be hard for you to come back. Well, but if he can just, get some composure, at the plate, he's going to be 300, 320-ish hitter this year.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I was gonna interject real quick. You could tell that Whitting felt the same way that you did. Like, hey, I know you're freshman. I know you're excited and anxious, and you want to go out there and smack everything 400 feet over the dead center field wall. But in this game, he wants you to have patience. He wants you to work the count because that's a chess move right there to get these pitchers for college to throw as many pitches as they can and tire those arms out. How many times did we see 0-1 pop-outs or 0-1 ground-outs. I mean, work the count a little bit.
Killer. Those are killer, dude.
Absolute killer in the college.
Absolutely awful.
Yeah.
That's honestly, like, first pitch pop-up infield is literally worse than a 8, 9 pitch, 10 pitch strikeout. I will take that all day.
Exactly.
Then a first pitch dink, like, infield fly. Oh, my God, kill me.
So next, we'll go ahead and jump into our returning pitching staff. Starting first with left-handed pitcher and Friday night starter, the boy Trey Cumbie, coming in as a junior and clearly had a pretty serious year this last year.
Yeah, he took the next step after we lost Seth. Trey stepped right in and had no problems. All the dude did is go in and win 10 games, become an All-American, and is on every single All-American watch list and Golden Spikes Award for this year. I mean, kid's got a 1.77 career ERA. Granted, it's only 2 years. Thrown 4 complete games, but last year, 100 innings pitched, 23 earned runs total, and only 15 walks. I mean, the dude has a lot of what is the word I'm looking for? He commands his pitches so well. I mean, that's what I really, really like about this guy. And I think Coach Rooney's going to work with him even more to get him to take that next step and really be that solid Friday night, throw him out there. He's going to sit him down, and we just got to get a couple runs and get out of there with the first quick, easy win.
Yeah, kid's got a lot of gumption on the mound, definitely. The thing that I'm most interested to see from him, and it's kind of, a spot that we've got in trouble with, I feel like, with our aces the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You got guys that have phenomenal sophomore years and come in as that, number 2 guy, and then when they're expected to be that number 1 guy, kind of don't really even match the numbers that they before. So I'm expecting him to, hopefully come in here and even raise his game up another level and really command, all these accolades and really, put it to work. Because we saw, with old boy last year. I mean, his numbers before even all the incidents really wasn't even close to what he was doing the year before.
Right. And it's like you said, it's happened.
Or what,
Yeah, and it's happened year after year.
When you're that guy,
right.
Finally can't handle it.
Right.
I agree. So next we have our redshirt junior left-handed pitcher for Sunday night.
There you go. Just sound it out. You're all right.
Sound it out.
It's been a long day.
No, I got you. So
Aaron Fletcher.
So Fletch steps into a starting role, and from what I've understood and read, he was supposed to have a starting role from the very get-go, but he had Tommy John, so they wanted to ease him back in. So the question will be, can he transition from the closer role to a starting role when he's out there throwing 5, 6, 7 innings, maybe throwing 80, 90 pitches, something like that? I mean, the kid throws strikes. We know that. But the question is, can he play the chess match? Can he last that 5, 6, 7 innings that we're going to need him to? And the good news is that we have really great depth in the bullpen, a lot of experience. So he may not have to go that far, but just for the Statty boys at home, got a 1.89 ERA career. Last year he had 41 innings pitched, only 11 earned runs and 10 walks. So the kid has good command of his ball. The question will be, can he fulfill that starting role?
Right.
That's going to be a big question mark for me, honestly, because we saw him in situations last year, and I know he really wasn't mentally prepared for it, but there were times we needed him to go more than 2, and it just felt like, the wheels came off when it got that, second, third inning, he was out there, man.
Exactly.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more myself. So last but not least, good old Freddie Villarreal, sophomore on the squad, and most of the time this last year our midweek starter, I think projected to be this year as well. So what do you guys think?
So Freddie, his thing, the midweek guy is going to be kind of a toss-up. We thought it was going to be Carter Henry last year, and Carter got a little bombed his first outing. So this could be up in the air. It could be a relief pitching role, kind of like Carter did. The question for Freddie is going to be, did he develop another pitch in the offseason with Coach Rooney? I think that's what it's going to come down to. Last year he had 42 innings pitched, but gave up 20 runs, but only 8 walks. So he's got a good command. The question is, does he have another pitch? So, going forward for who we return on starters, I think we're in really, really good shape overall.
I agree. So that closes.
You think so? I felt way more comfortable a lot last year, though.
So yeah, I would. Okay, for that instance, you're
also
correct.
had Romero.
Yeah, last year, way more confidence. But for this year, I feel solidly confident, not overly confident. I feel solid confidence.
Okay. There we go. So we will go ahead and round it off and give you guys, I guess, a little bit of sneak peek of what we're adding to the squad this year. And some of the guys, over the last couple of years, Whitney has done a really good job of taking these younger guys and bringing them in. And they've had, we've had huge turnover, but still done pretty dang well just because, guys are going to the league and we've needed big shoes to fill. So, starting off, I guess we'll go take a look at one of our outfield guys. That's going to be Drew Minter, coming out of Clear Springs High School. So it was a four-year letter winner. This is not football. From Clear Springs High School, and helped the team go to co-district championship title in his senior season. Pretty impressive looking guy, and I know Tim, you're the big recruiting guy. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, I mean, the kid's got good size. He's over 6 foot, 200 pounds. I mean, that's pretty ideal for an outfielder. This is a projection. We don't really. I mean, he hasn't seen the field in over almost a year almost. So not too much. This is based off of a D1 baseball assumption. There's some other guys that have been here that might be competing for an outfield position. If a freshman makes it on the squad this year starting, he's the real deal. Just to be very honest, because we have so much depth returning. So
I would agree with that.
If he's projected to be a starter, this kid must be the real deal.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
I think the most impressive thing with him is, damn, boy, you going to cut me off every time I speak?
I saw that happening from a mile away.
I think an important thing is, I mean, the guy was a three-time all-district performer, dude, and there's not many guys that you could realistically say that about.
Yeah.
Especially a 4-year starter in the state of Texas at that high level of baseball. Yeah. I mean, you get put on as a freshman on varsity, you're doing something right.
Yeah, especially for a 6A squad. This ain't no 2A, 3A.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, the hat's off.
Yeah.
Sweet. So, finally, next. Tucker Red, catcher coming out of...
So raise my hand next time.
And Ranger College. Was named a all-conference catcher and helped get one of his squad to the regional semifinals, and spent the 2016 season before at Ranger College, where he played in 39 games. Played pretty well. So, what are your thoughts?
With Tucker, he's going to be our catcher. I think what kind of jumps out to me is that he played at Angelina, which is near and dear to Jameson's heart. I know that.
Hey, Uncle Michael is a Angelina College baseball alumni, dude.
That is correct. I like that he hit 337, 30 RBIs, and then he hit 313 and slugged 434. So that tells me no matter where he's at, he's hitting for power. I just hope that translates to the next level here in D1, and I think it will. I got to be honest with you. So these guys were picked out by Coach Tripp, and Tripp has always had an eye for talent. So every year, I mean, this has happened for what? Ian Rice, Jake Shiner. Is Tucker Redden the next guy to be that diamond in the rough that we find out of nowhere and just comes in and mashes? I think that Tucker's going to be that guy this year.
And don't let the junior college numbers fool you. And I've seen some junior college baseball played. They won't be able to go in a series and compete with the D1 program. They couldn't come into U of H and win a 3-game series, bar none. But they got the talent in the field to beat you 1 out of 3. That's for sure. And they got one guy on the mound to do it. They can. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, those numbers in college, there's some junior college teams out there that can knock some socks off some D1 teams, without a doubt. So those numbers look pretty damn good to me at the junior college level, especially the league they're playing in here in Texas is very, very solid.
Yeah. No, agreed.
So next we've got Ron Brown coming out of local guy coming from Bel Air High School, who's a DH for us. Earned another 4-year starter at Bel Air High School and helped him to 3 playoff appearances. Named to 3 first team all districts, and was named on the Texas Senior All-Star team, as well as the Houston All-Star team as well. So, dude looks pretty darn good.
So this was a guy that I really had no idea about until the Red and White series. And then everyone kept talking about Ron Brown. And here we are. D1 Baseball is projecting him to be a starter as designated hitter. The dude's pretty big. He is solid. He is not a tiny man in the slightest bit. But like I said about Drew Minter, if this is a freshman coming in and being slotted to be a designated hitter, Whitting is not just going to put just anybody in that position. So I'm pretty excited to see the upside for this guy.
That.
Yeah.
Remember the freshman we stuck in there at the beginning of last year?
Yeah, I know. And I don't think he's going to fall into that trap.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, hey, that's fair because it happened. And the worst thing that can happen is that we stumble right out the gate. So thankfully that didn't play a part in it. But we're just projecting right now for Ron Brown based off what he did in high school, 4-year starter for a 6A school, just like Drew Minter. I think we got a pretty good diamond in the rough there.
Sweet. So, last but not least, our final guy on the squad of quality guys that we're bringing on this season is going to be Ryan Randall, right-handed pitcher, possibly projected Sunday starter coming out of Orange Coast College.
I think I've told everybody this in our text. This dude is 6'7". He is only $195, so he is a string bean. But I cannot remember what is the pitcher that we had 2 years ago. Is
it taller Nolan Bond?
Yeah, exactly.
That kid's a string bean too.
He had 4 saves and 18 appearances, struck out 38 in 52 innings. I always like a pitcher that has high strikeout ratio for his innings pitched. The starting pitching rotation will probably be working on for the first couple weeks, which kind of sucks because week 2, which we're going to preview here in a little bit, right out the gate, we're going to get tested real quick. Again, D1's projecting him to be a starter. If he's beating out the guys that were here last year and did pretty well, this guy must be the real deal.
Indeed. So that is it for our newcomers coming on the squad this year. And obviously we gave you our starting outlook on everybody who's returning, but we've got 10 other guys that are obviously returners from this last year and have been depth guys in the past, but could be some guys to watch out for. So, Tim, you want to lead this off on this one?
Yeah, so here's some names that you're probably going to hear coming up this year. Tyler Bielamovich, obviously, for one. Played outfield a lot towards the end of the year, filled in on spot duty, and even pitched. But I don't think we need him to go be on the mound anymore because I think his ERA was like 5+ last year. Nolan Bond, the guy that almost actually won us the first game against A&M on that Monday, had Conor Wong's ball gone 8 feet to the right. We would have been playing for a World Series.
Yep.
Sorry, I got Astros on the brain. Supers appearance. Next, Wendell Champion, who had spot duty as well in the outfield, came in really athletic. Might see his name called if Greyson can't stay healthy. We'll see. Same thing with Landon Edsel. Almost exact same carbon copy of Wendell Champion. Ray Fuentes, the third kind of DH infield outfield. He's the guy that we were hyped on last year. Fizzled out and then came back and had some in pinch hitting spot duty. Yet to be seen. Yeah. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't have very much room for error. So if he gets a chance, he's really got to show that,
Absolutely.
I mean, look at what happened with Greyson. Greyson had to earn his way back into the starting role,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not Greyson, Triolo. But Carter Henry, another one of those, got absolutely shelled his first start and then had to work his way back and build his confidence back. I know we're going to see him in spot duty this year.
He had some good outings, and he did come in when he needed him to.
Yeah.
Later on in the season.
Right. Brayson Herdsman, a reliever, did really good last year. I'm not curious. I'm confident that he's going to take that next step for us in the reliever position. We did pick up a guy named Kyle Ott. He's a transfer from Baylor, which was really funny. because at the Dugout Club dinner, Coach Whitting definitely threw some shade when he announced him because he had a good GPA. He was like, "Didn't we beat you guys twice in the regional last year?" And he just kind of shook his head and walked on by, and everyone's like, ha ha. Let's see, who's next? Joey Pulido, another good guy, great reliever, good stuff. We're going to see if he takes the next step.
Solid fastball.
Solid fastball. And then last but not least, the guy that kind of got lost in the wayside every now and again, but did great in spot duty was Nick Slaughter. He's a catcher, but I'm hearing that he might get a shot at outfield. If he's got the power, by all means, I would not be mad if his bat comes through and it's him, Padgett, and Lyle out in the outfield. That's a lot of athleticism and a lot of power behind the bats.
Yeah. I'm not going to say what I was going to say because I don't want to throw shade at the kid.
Well, let's not do that.
I think he should stick to outfield instead of catching.
I agree. I agree with you on that one. But Jay, do you have anything to add on the depth guys? I personally like that's 10 guys that I would feel confident of slotting in as a starter any given day of the week.
Absolutely. And, honestly, it feels good, especially the outfielders you listed. A lot of those guys got good reps last year, and a lot of them had really good moments.
Yeah.
So, you really can't – our depth is slowly, I feel like, getting better and better each and every year under Whitting.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of nice to see this and knowing you have this on your bench to kind of choose from, and all these guys have experience for the most part, which is great.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, sweet, man. That is our squad for 2018. Pretty pumped to see everything coming forth and coming through. Obviously, we've got some games coming up just a couple of days from now. So with that, we might as well go ahead and take a look at our conference outlook and the way that the season is going to go for the American Athletic Conference. So we'll go ahead and start off, I guess, with our preseason poll going through our baseball teams through the conference. Starting off with number 1, your Houston Cougars with 5 votes. Pretty impressive.
Yeah. This is the coaches vote on all this.
Sure.
There's a lot of respect for U of H. I mean, Whitting's 40-plus wins 3 out of 4 years. I personally probably wouldn't vote as 1, but then again, who else are you going to vote as 1? I don't. Some of the other teams, I can't vote number 1 as well, but hats off to Whitting. Yeah. This is, the recipe is there to win this conference. I think this conference is very winnable this year. It's going to be tough, but I think it's very, very winnable.
Yeah, and look at Whitting's building. We've hosted regionals now 2 of the last 3 years. When's the last time that's happened?
Yeah, couldn't even tell you.
And that's impressive. And no one else in the conference can say that since the American inception.
Right.
So it's kind of like our conference when it comes to baseball. You expect us to be receiving votes in the preseason poll year in and year out. If we're not, then there's something off. Yeah. To be quite frank.
I agree. I totally agree.
So in second, someone who we've run into here and there last couple of seasons, UConn.
Oh yeah.
Also 3 first place votes.
So
pitching, man, they get some good pitching.
And I don't know where they're finding these guys because it's not like a one-off, like they found a diamond in the rough. This is
spending their time instead of basketball and football right now on finding good baseball players.
Hey, dude, they got George Springer that came out of their program too.
And they had what was his name? Anthony K, or the last name was K or something like that. It wasn't Kate. It was something. Yeah. Anyways,
it was the guy. I remember we were at your house and we had a crawfish bowl and UConn beat us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And they're pitching.
And it's their pitching.
Through lights out.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough series for us. Truthfully, that makes me a little nervous, and I think we play them at the last series in the year. I'm sure that wasn't on purpose.
Was it there?
Yeah, it's there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, next we'll go ahead and jump on to number 3, someone who's been on the up and coming the last couple of years. I've seen getting a lot of votes and a lot of press on Twitter recently, and that's UCF.
Mm-hmm. So UCF was able to retain their head coach, Coach Lovelady. The dude had a huge turnaround. They went 40-22. They were co-champions with us. I don't know. So what's funny is that we're listed as co-champions, but then here in the media guide it says they were the regular season champs, which is BS because we have hardware. Whatever, technicalities, I'm tired of it. they returned their freshman All-American Joe Sheridan and Bryce Tucker to the pitching staff. They've got amazing arms, and I think that's what killed us the first night when we played there last year, was we could not have our bats beat their arm, and their bats beat our arm, which sucks, because I think that was when we still had Seth, if I'm not mistaken. But UCF's going to be a very
little
tough
shenanigans.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Next, a team who I'm actually quite surprised is sitting here, since they last couple seasons sitting right at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
Carolina Pirates.
Shit's taking all water, mate.
Well, the good news is for ECU, they're not starting off at the top of the mountain just waiting to tumble down like I did this past weekend while I was skiing. So they have reasonable expectations. They can start in the middle of the pack, and if they make some noise, great. And if they don't, no big deal. They've got this Spencer Brickhouse. He had 10 homers last year. ECU, their coach, I think it's Coach Goodwin, something like that. The guy likes bats.
Yeah.
And they return, like I said.
Oh, yeah.
Freshman Brickhouse was a freshman All-American. They've got 19 letter winners, including DeWanya Williams-Sutton and the all-tournament team from last year, Jake Agno. So ECU is going to be, can you have the pitching to match the bats? And we've been there before. I'm not really sure what to think of them, but if they're in fourth place without a first-place vote, then nobody really believes in their pitching staff.
And that's what killed them last year was their pitching staff. I remember you go through their lineup and see their averages. You're like, there's no reason this lineup is losing them games.
Right. I agree.
It was their pitching.
Yeah.
Cool. So next, we're going to find South Florida sitting right in at number 5. Actually ended up getting one first-place vote. Obviously, last year led the conference for the most significant part of regular season because of their easy and very home game dominant.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, they
ridiculous. I forgot about that.
I want to say that they only had like 2 or 3 losses, but their strength of schedule was in like the 200s. So the thing about USF though, the big question mark is going to be, they lost, what was his name, Coach Kingston to South Carolina. So they promoted their pitching coach to their head coach. So the question is going to be, can they translate that kind of like what we've done with football, promoting the guy down the door. Sure. They went 42-19 last year. They had 3 players voted preseason all-conference. They had the number 2 pitching staff last year. Is that going to do the same thing this year? One of their guys, McClanahan, was a preseason All-American. I think that they're going to have better success than 5th place. I don't think they're going to drop and tumble down to 5th place. I find that hard to believe. Especially, college baseball is truly about 1 or 2 good arms and 2 or 3 good bats and solid fielding. If you can pretty much have that, you can compete with just about any league, in my opinion.
Well, you can compete in a 3-game series, but not when it comes to a College World Series.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you're fine in conference, but you're fine in conference play.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree.
Cool. So next, we've got newcomer to the league, first time playing in the American Athletic Conference, Wichita State.
Dude, the team of the late 80s, early 90s. My God.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Obviously won a Natty in 1989 and went to the College World Series in 82, 88, 89, 91, 92, 93, 96. And I think they had a record for the longest running streak of postseason play, which I think was like 22 or 26 seasons.
They basically went from like the 20 teens all the way back to the 80s.
Right, but for the most part, I haven't really done anything since 09.
Yeah.
So, overall, when we were talking, obviously basketball's been a significant upgrade for the league. This was one of the things that we thought was going to be a good upgrade on the baseball side as well as just adding another team to the league, since overall, we really have 9 teams for the conference. So.
Right. Wichita State is going to be a huge upgrade. I think they have 2 guys on All-American status, if I'm not mistaken, including a first baseman and a pitcher, if I'm not. I think that's that Greyson Janista guy. I'm curious to see how they make that jump. I mean, we already knew what we were going to get in basketball. Baseball's a little bit different because basketball's been so dominant for Wichita State. Is it going to be the same for basketball? Or for baseball, I apologize. I don't know if they're going to be able to make that jump, hence why they were voted 6th. I think they'll have a solid season, but I don't see them making any large noise and upsetting everybody in the first year in this league.
Yeah, especially, compared to basketball, they transitioned over well, still going to be able to compete. Baseball, a little bit different beast compared to the competition they've been playing the last several years, and it's going to be a lot tougher for them to make the postseason in this conference than where they were before, that's for sure.
No, I agree.
Cool. So next, sitting in at number 7, we have the Memphis Tigers. Kind of sitting about where they stood last year. Personally, I'm surprised that Memphis is a school, as a program, where they are, hasn't been able to do better at recruiting and be more productive in this conference. They're having troubles with basketball as well right now, though. So, what are y'all's
thoughts? That's a little surprising.
Yeah, seriously. For baseball, Memphis has always just been one of those pesky middle-tier teams in baseball. It's one of those that we should never lose a series to, but somehow we'll
lose. The Tulane to football is what they are.
Exactly.
When it comes to baseball.
Exactly. Look at what we were just talking about earlier with the freaking conference tournament. We were down in the 8th inning, and because we had a godsend of a pinch run home run, which is the probability of that happening is slim and none.
Yeah.
And again, they were a pesky 6 seed. Like, this is stuff we deal with in Memphis and baseball and Tulane in football. It happens left and right. But they got Tyler Webb as a preseason all-conference. They got 30 wins last year. They done that. We're in the 6 out of 7 years they've done that. I don't think Memphis is going to take another strong step forward. But again, they're a 7 seed 7th ranking that I get nervous when we go play them at Memphis.
Yeah. So, coming in at the number 8 spot is going to be the Tulane Green Wave, who's fallen pretty hard, especially after, obviously, 2 seasons ago, had their head coach head off to Texas, and they're struggling in at this 8th spot right now.
Yeah, so it's like Tulane was getting back up there with Price, and then he went away, and it's like, in Tulane, I want Tulane to be good in baseball because they're kind of like an old, they've been to a College World Series before, in the last 20 years. They kind of have a little bit of a history. I wish they were better than what they, have been as of recent.
I completely agree.
So the thing with Tulane is 2017, they had a shit ton of youth. How does that translate in 2018? I don't know. That's why they're voted in the 8th spot, because nobody knows what the hell they're going to do with all that youth that they had last year. Truthfully,
I just can't see them being the 8th worst team in the league.
I can't see them being worse than Wichita State, to be very blunt. I don't. Memphis. I don't think they're going to have that
Carolina.
Because if I'm not mistaken, because I remember watching the game when we played there, and it was senior day. They only had like 3 or 4 seniors. Not even that.
I know.
And one of them, and 2 of them, like one was a starter and one was a pitcher. So I don't know.
Beats the hell out of me. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Sitting in the 9
I don't agree with it, but I don't think they'll be 8.
Yeah. Sitting in the 9 hole, probably our perennial 9 hole spots. Only place I think has a worse stadium than TSU at McGregor Park, and that's Cincinnati.
I hope Cincinnati's enjoying their top 10 and all the love and admiration and the 16-game winning streak, because that shit's about to come to a real hard stop after the month of March has gone by.
They don't care about baseball.
I know they don't. I know, but they'll chirp, and Bearcat Radio will send us some funny gifts. I know they're going to do that. But they got a brand new head coach because the other guy was basically on his last leg and sucked a fat one. They hired their rival, Xavier's head coach, who did pretty well. I think he took him to turn it like 4 times out of 12 years. But they do return A.J. Bumpus, Connor McVeigh, Jace Mercer, and Joey Thomas. They're kind of like us last year. They returned so much power. So the question will be, can they turn that into wins and also a pitching staff?
Yeah.
Obviously not, because they're in the 9-hole. So that's all I got on that. I really don't know what else to say about Cincinnati.
Any team that wears all black uniforms with black pants and black tops, like, get GTFO. Just GTFO.
Baseball Uniwatch thoughts.
No. Yeah.
So, overall, that's where the conference is looking at right now. As far as schedule goes wise, we have 29 home games at Schroeder Park. Before we get into too much of that, Tim, do you want to tell us a little bit about season tickets, maybe how they look for this next year? Maybe some perks of, I know, the Dugout Club that you're a part of?
Yeah, so I do the Dugout Club. You can join it for as little as $300, paid over 12 months. You can do a $500 level, or you can do a $1,000 level, or you can do Coaches Committee, which is $5,000 level. I know that's a lot of money for a lot of people, but just to get involved, you get some swag. You get to go to a preseason meet and greet, and they'll have another one probably at Minute Maid Classic just for Dugout Club members. From what I've come to understand, they are the ones that do it the best out of everybody. They don't forget you. It's not a huge group. And they make it actually good events. Coach Whitting knows every single Dugout Club member almost by name. He responds to emails. He's a really great guy to talk to as a fan. Season ticket wise, it's $100 for season tickets for the entire year. You can do the flex plan, or you can do 20 tickets for $80, and you just kind of use them whenever the hell you want to. There's 29 games at Schroeder Park this year, so you're getting your money's worth. Essentially, you're not going to cost you an arm and a leg. They do cheap beer nights on Friday nights. Kids get to run the bases on Sunday. So if you enjoy just a good afternoon at a ballpark with a hot dog and sunflower seeds and a cold beer, you're not going to find a better value than at U of H.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. Cool. So obviously, like you mentioned, 29 home games, which is great. 2 of the games in Houston are going to be over at Constellation Field in Sugar Land against Rice and Sam Houston State. Yeah. I gotta say, if you have kids, definitely make the trip over there, because they've got like a water park and slides and all the extra shenanigans all out in the stadium, which is pretty cool. I'd say it's definitely, at least for the Rice game, if more than like 12 of them show up, it's a fun game to go to.
Yeah.
And Sam Houston State recently, it's been a competitive series. They've whooped our ass multiple times in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So, other than that,
hey, they were a super regional team last year, man. Gotta give them credit.
Yep,
exactly. We have 8 home midweek games.
Yep.
And the first 13 games on our schedule are versus 2017 NCAA tournament teams, which is...
That would be like basketball playing NIT teams or NCAA teams for March Madness right out the chute in every single at-a-conference matchup.
It's almost like doing just March Madness, because there's about the same amount of people that play.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a really tough schedule. We start with Holy Cross, which made run their conference, and then we go to Cal State Fullerton, which is a College World Series team. Week 2. I mean, good God! You want to talk about? We're going to find out where we stand real quick. I mean, I hope we can work out kinks, and then we get that midweek game. I hope in 4 games we're going to figure it out, because the worst thing that can happen for us, if we're going to be in the conversation for hosting, is to go out there and get absolutely swept. That would be the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah. You know what, though? Like, I'm glad that we're starting to get, a better schedule as we keep progressing, and Whitting keeps progressing this team, because he wants us in the discussion earlier in the season and not a late bubble like we were earlier on when we had earlier success with him. We're like, we don't know how good they are. The record's great, but, can they, we want to consider ourselves a regional team by what? When it comes April, we want to be knowing like you're going to be potentially hosting a regional.
You want to like a third of the way through the season, you want to kind of know, all right, this is, because you got to think about it. Like last year, we didn't know we were going to host until really the last couple weeks. It was like, oh, you're pretty much a shoo-in to make a regional 2 seat somewhere, but
Right.
I'd rather, like you said, make this push in the very beginning and then kind of coast
Yeah,
rather than flipping that and hoping to God everything falls our way to host towards the end.
exactly.
100% agree. Another fantastic thing about the 2018 season, boys are back in the college.
Boys are back in town.
And to me, this is probably one of the most underrated college classics there has been, because it doesn't have Rice, it doesn't have A&M, and it doesn't have Texas. But 4 out of the 6 teams all went to super regionals last year, and 5 out of the 6 were in regionals.
Yep.
The only one that wasn't was Louisiana Lafayette, and they were on the brink of not being in one.
Right.
So 4 out of the 6 were in super regionals, and every opponent U of H plays was in a super regional.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
To think about.
With that, we have on Friday we have Kentucky. Saturday is going to be against Mississippi State, and then Sunday is going to be against Vandy.
Ooh, that Vandy game, dude.
It's like you said,
Vandy is sick.
Rice isn't any good at baseball anymore either.
Well, I think that's a little overzealous of you to say. I think they're on a downtrend, but they're still good at bait. They're still really good. They've got a hell of.
I would have loved to have Rice in this, besides like Louisiana Lafayette.
Yeah, but Ulala's going to bring the fans. They are going to bring a hell of a lot of fans.
Oh, they will.
Yeah.
I know that's true. But Rice baseball, they'll show out for a college classic usually.
That's true.
Sam Houston's the only team that might not. We'll see.
Yeah.
So Tim, there's a bunch of stats on this board right here. I want you to go ahead and lead us through the rest of the schedule. Real quick.
Yeah, basically we have 29 total games versus 14 different regional teams from last year. That's a lot of teams
huge,
on the schedule. And what it does is that helps us in our conversation for RPI in terms of being a 2 seed or possibly hosting, because we'll have that argument. Granted, it's a whole new different year, but looking at the schedule now, just like college basketball, sex appeal and eye appeal go a long way. When you're saying you're beating teams like Kentucky or Vanderbilt or Sam Houston or guys that are constantly in regionals, that helps you. Even if they suck, it still helps you that you won. We've got 35 total games in Houston. That means all the 29 at Schrader Park plus the College Classic plus Sugar Land. So you don't have to go more than 30 minutes without, going to catch a game for U of H. We do play at, like I mentioned earlier, at Cal State Fullerton, which made it to the College World Series in week number 2. If you're obviously not flying out there, you can probably log on to their little thing and pay like $5 or $10 and watch it, stream it on the weekend.
We played them in week 2 last year, though, too.
Yeah.
In Houston.
And we won the series, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we only played 2 games.
We did play 2 games.
Because the third got canceled.
Right, one of the games.
We went to a basketball game in that day, and then we were going to the baseball game afterwards, and they were doing a bunch of the baseball rain-out games, so it was pretty fun to watch.
Right. We play San Diego State. They were a regional team last year. We play at A&M and at Texas, so if you want to make a quick drive over to the Bluebell sheep area of the state, knock yourself out. And if you want to drive that 2.5-hour drive to go to the 40 acres, knock yourself out. They're both going to be in April. We do the Don Sanders Cup and the Silver Glove Series, just like we mentioned earlier. 1 game at home, 1 game there, and then 1 game at Sugar Land. What I really like is because of the way the conference schedule is set up, now that we have 9 teams, we have this random weekend that we have nothing. It's kind of like the Pac-12. They do the same thing. They have their last weekend kind of open up for whatever. So we're going to play a 2-game series against Southeastern Louisiana. And the great news about that is they're always a regional team. So that's going to be a great RPI booster because we're playing at Southeastern Louisiana. I don't even know where that's at. Is that? Is that in Hammond?
Yes.
Okay,
yes. I think it is Hammond.
Yeah, that's
good for both parties, though, at the end of the year. Right. I mean, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so outside of the out-of-conference, when you're talking about our conference schedule, it's going to go, we're playing Memphis at home. Then we go to Cincinnati. Then we get USF home, which I think is going to be a huge series for us.
Crucial.
It's a must-win.
Crucial.
Then we go to Tulane, which I think is going to be another series back-to-back. It's a must-win.
Sneaky.
Huh?
Sneaky.
Sneaky.
It is.
Then we have Wichita State at home. We go at ECU. And then we get UCF at home, which I think is going to be a really, really pivotal series.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, at UConn, like we mentioned earlier in the program. So this is not an easy schedule. I
hate going at UConn at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Well, truth be told, I'd rather go now than at the beginning of the season when it's probably still 30 degrees, 40 degrees out there.
Yeah.
That's true. I'd rather just I don't even know.
I mean,
I'll go at Wichita.
Right.
And, let's switch and bring
and it's hard to project. I can't, we're not going to go I think we're going to win 40 games again this year. I don't.
You never know.
You
never know.
And I've talked to guys online about this. I think there's a big question mark with the team this year with the loss of Power, loss of Tripp, loss of Coach Anderson, replacing them with two good guys, Coach Schatz and Coach Rooney. Obviously, Schatzberger's been a part of the team for, I think, since Whitting came back. I don't know where to set the bar, but I think the bar this year is minimum making the NCAA tournament. If the pitching staff works, I think we need to either win either or the regular season or conference tournament. And if we replace the power, pitching staff is fine, and the coaches mesh, there should be no reason we're not in the conversation for hosting the regional. Just my thing.
Yeah. I'm completely right there with you. I think the whole M64 motto is something that if we don't make every year, it'd kind of be a disappointment, in all honesty, considering where the program, how far we've progressed in the 4 years under Whitting. For sure, it'd be a disappointment. But no, I have a lot of question marks with this team too. Would I be shocked if we hosted a regional? No. Would I be shocked if we barely made a regional? No. Right. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, we're not the only ones. There's multiple people that I've talked to. They're just kind of like, let's just see how this one plays out. I mean, really, we really won't know until about the fourth week of the season, kind of where we stand and how the lineup's going to shake out, and if the pitching staff is correct. Going on the road to Cal State Fullerton week 2 is going to be tough as shit, just to be very, very honest with you. Then we turn right back around, and we've got the Houston College Classic right after that, where we're playing really tough SEC teams. So we don't really catch a breather until week 4. And then we really don't, because San Diego was a regional team. So I don't know. I think I have high hopes. I think we're going to at least be a 30-win team. If we're another 40-win team, hats off to Whitting, because good God, that's impressive to replace coaches in power like that.
Yeah. I mean, but, you go through the different polls, like we're in and out of the top 25 out of various ones, but we're always in that 21 to 25 range at the ones we are in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, and then like you said earlier, we're predicted always, again, as a Baton Rouge regional team.
Yeah,
it never fails. We are always
the exact same teams that we played, 3-4 years ago?
Yeah.
That was that.
Yeah,
I tell you what, if they put us, Florida State, and LSU in a regional, I'm going.
No. We were paired up.
That would be insane.
No, we were paired up. Meaning
paired to their regional. Okay. I was going to say, what?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No.
I was like, there's no way that would happen.
Yeah, well, I would.
It would be us.
I would take one of my customers for sure, because he used to be a catcher for Florida State.
That would be an insane. But again, always Baton Rouge.
Yep.
Sweet. So, do you guys have any final thoughts, I guess, for baseball?
No, I pretty much went on my spiel.
I think we just pretty much laid it out there.
Yeah.
Hope for the best. I mean,
I don't want to expect the worst.
Expect to make the tournament. Don't know if we're going to host or not. We'll find out.
Sure, I agree, and I think it's good to see at least going down here, knowing that the conference looks just as good, if not better than ever. I think. As the American, there's teams that we think could be a lot better. They're at the bottom, and there's teams at the top that are getting a lot of national press. And overall, I think, especially with our schedule this year, it's really going to help us out overall to help get the resume that's going to put us in a good spot for hosting in the postseason. But
the good thing to go off of that is, I mean, the American did put 3 teams into the regionals last year, which was, I would say, success for the conference for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think overall that is it for our 2018 baseball series or baseball season preview. So if you like the video, please make sure to like the video if you've listened this long. And if you got this far, go ahead and put in Big Baseball Bonanza in the comment section. BBB, Big Baller Brand, whatever you want to call it. And overall, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you guys later. Go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
All right, go Cougs.
We're out.